Okay, so we have our finished website, and one thing that you might want to do at this point is change the fonts. If we look at the fonts, we haven't touched any fonts. These are all the default fonts. Maybe there's a different font from a CSS class. You know, if we apply to class, maybe it changed the font. But a good website to get a different font is Google Font. If you do a Google search for Google Fonts, this top result is going to be fonts.google.com. And what's really nice about Google Fonts, if you click on that top link, you can see there's about 922 fonts out there for us to use. So you can browse this pretty much all day if you want to. And we can put any one of these fonts on our website. I don't think at this point there's premium fonts. I could be wrong about that. I think they're all free though. And so when you find a font, let me show you how to add it. Okay, now I'm going to choose a font that is called Rubik. So I did a search for Rubik, and I clicked on the font to see examples, and you can see that Rubik has, you know, some different levels of bold, how bold that you make the font, and then you can have italics. You can see what all the characters look like. What's really nice about Google Font, I'm going to go ahead and select this font because I know I want it. Now notice what happens when I click select this font. Notice it says one family selected down here. Okay, now what I really like about Google Fonts, if you scroll down, it says popular pairings with Rubik. And so over here it shows Rubik is good with Roboto. So this heading is in Rubik, and then the paragraph is in Roboto. You can click on this Open Sans. Again, the heading is in Rubik, the text is in Open Sans. So I'm actually going to use Open Sans in addition to Rubik on my website. Since that looks good, that pairs nice. You can see how many websites are using this. It says number of times Rubik has been used in the last week on over 600,000 websites. So it's definitely a popular font. I'm going to go ahead and click the plus next to Open Sans as well, so you can see two families have been selected. So I have Rubik and I have Open Sans. What's really nice is they give us the code to put into our website. Notice it says the load time is fast, so it's not slowing our website down. And they give us a link. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this link. And once you put this link in your code, it says, hey, if you're going to actually use Rubik, code it like this. Or if you're going to use Open Sans, you code it like this. So the first step is to put in the link. And the second step is, notice it says specify in the CSS. We have to write some CSS to use that font. So let's go back into our code, and underneath our Font Awesome kit, I'm going to paste in Google Fonts. And matter of fact, I'll just throw in a comment here that says Font Awesome. This is Google Fonts. Now, actually, I know you guys are following along. To be a little bit safer, I'm going to put this above the CSS. So maybe just beneath the title. I'm going to put the Google Fonts beneath the title. The reason is I want it to load first here, and then we're going to use the CSS beneath that. And If you load it after the fact like I did originally, I think that could cause a problem. So I'm actually going to put this link above the style tag, because this is an embedded style sheet. I think that could have caused a problem. And here's the CSS on the body. So basically for all of our paragraphs and most of the text, I'm going to do a font family, and I have to have a quote here, Open Sans. Remember, that's the font that I selected. And then on all of my headings, which are in H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6, on all of my headings, I'm going to do a font family of, again in quotes, Rubik. And it's that simple. We've now changed the fonts on all of our headings, and we've changed the fonts on all of our paragraphs and all of the other text on our web page. Just to make sure that it works, let me open up with Live Server, Alt-L, Alt-O. Okay, yeah, that looks different. Right? You guys can see that Rankin Technical College looks different. My text looks different here, the paragraph text. If I really want to be sure of it, I can inspect, and there you see font family Open Sans on the paragraph. If I uncheck that, you can see that font is changing, right? So you can see the before and after, and you can see that live just to make sure that it worked. Same thing with my heading. That's an H2. I can just test to make sure that it works. Whereas font family rubric, let me uncheck that. Okay, you can see that font is changing so that you know that the code worked. So it's font family rubric, that's causing it to look as such. So that's as simple as Google Fonts is. Again, they give you a lot of the CSS to write. You just have to tell it on what do you want to change the font. I changed the body font and here on the heading fonts. And that's the last thing that I wanted to show you guys. That's the end of the website. All right, so we're now completed with the website. I'm going to stop the video, and that'll be the last in the series.